Hello everyone, my name is Emilia Stoyanovska and I'm going to be your teacher for today. I hope that you will have a good time on this English lesson and that you will join me for many more in the future. So today we're going to talk about passive voice. To be more precise, we're going to talk about present passive or passive voice from the present simple tense. So at the very beginning, we need to distinguish that English has two voices, that is active and passive. The active voice is used when the subject of the sentence does the action. For example, here in this sentence, my mom sings that song. A or my mom is the subject or the doer of the action, and B or that song is the object. So the passive voice is used when we focus on the object of the sentence. So we say that the subject and the object of the active sentence change their places. Like in this example here, that song now becomes the subject. That song is sung by my mom. When it is important to know who does the action, then we need to use by. The noun that follows by is called the agent. In the given example before, my mom was the subject in the active sentence, but then it became the agent in the passive sentence. Sometimes, when we don't know the agent or it is simply not important to be mentioned, then we do not use by. Such an example is this sentence. This sweater is made in China. So it doesn't say who made the sweater, but it is just important that it is made there. Now, when it comes to the form, we need to know that the passive sentences are formed with the proper form of the verb to be, past plus past participle, or the third form of the verb. When we talk about the present passive, then we need to use the present tense of the verb to be, am, is, or are, depending on the subject or the pronoun, and then again we use the past participle or the third form of the verb. So the past participle always stays the same. What changes in the sentences is actually the verb to be. The subject and verb must always agree in number. Let's look at the examples in the table. The active sentence is, the teachers help the new student. The teachers is the subject in the sentence, help is the verb, and the new student, object. Now the passive sentence would be, the new student is helped by the teacher. Now if we're talking about plural, like in this example, the teachers help the students, this is the active sentence, then in the passive sentence we have to be careful with the proper verb of to be. So the passive sentence should be, the new students are helped by the teachers. When we talk about negative and questions, we can look at some examples in this table here. Again, affirmative passive sentence. The first is active, Ben walks the dog. Then the passive sentence would be, the dog is walked by Ben. They make cookies here. Then the passive sentence would be, cookies are made here. If we're talking about negative sentences, here are some examples. Ben doesn't walk the cat. We're following the same rule. The cat isn't walked by Ben. Or, they don't make sandwiches here. Sandwiches aren't made here. And finally, if we want to ask a question, look at this example. Does Ben walk the rabbit? Is the rabbit walked by Ben. If it is important, we can introduce it by using by. And then, how do they make the cookies? How are the cookies made? So you have to be careful that you use the proper form of the verb to be and the past participle of the main verb. So the passive voice is often used if we want to talk about art, science, or literature. Look at this example. The scientific method is used for experiments. Also, the passive voice can be used if we want to explain directions and instructions. For example, baseball is played with 9 players on the team. Also, in news reports and academic writing, it is quite familiar that we use the passive voice as well. The environment is studied by many scientists. Right. Now, let's practice a bit. Let's look at these sentences, and first we need to decide whether they are active or passive. They watch TV every evening. So remember what we said at the beginning of the lesson. You have to analyze the sentence and see, do we have a subject? Do we have a verb? Do we have an object? Right? So what type of sentence is it? They watch TV every evening. Are we focusing on the activity? Are we focusing on the doer of the action? Is the doer of the action important? And so on. So what do you think? Is sentence 1 active or passive? It's active, definitely. They watch TV every evening. It's an active sentence in the present simple tense. Now let's take a look at the second sentence. She writes letters at the weekends. What do you think? She is the subject of the sentence. Writes letters at the weekends. Any ideas? Of course, it's an active sentence. Now, Portuguese is spoken in Brazil. What about this one? Is it mentioned who speaks the language? So we are just concerned about this fact that the language is spoken there. So this means that this sentence is passive. Very good. Simon travels all over the world for his job. What about sentence number 4? Would you say, is it active or is it passive? Active, of course. And the last sentence, the best shoes are made in Italy. Again, we don't know who makes the shoes, and maybe it's not important right now, but we are more concerned with the fact that the best shoes are made there. So we would all agree that this is a passive sentence. Excellent. Now let's choose the correct answer in the following questions. Of course, we need to read the sentence carefully and then decide whether we need active verb or passive verb. Football is a popular sport. It in many countries around the world. So what should we say? It plays in many countries around the world, or it is played in many countries around the world? It is played. That's right. Okay. Now, many movies in Hollywood every year. Should we say many movies are made in Hollywood or many movies make in Hollywood every year? So we are concerned about the fact that the movies are made there, not necessarily right now. We don't care who makes the movies. So we would say that the correct answer is A. That's right. Many movies are made in Hollywood every year. Question number 3. I often go to the library and some books to read. Are we talking about an active sentence or a passive one? What do you think? Yes, the sentence is active, so we should choose the verb in A, borrow. I often go to the library and borrow some books to read. Good job. Moving on to question number 4, sentence number 4. Our office, the cleaning crew every night. So should we say, our office cleans the cleaning crew or is cleaned by? Is cleaned by, definitely. It's a passive sentence, so the answer in B is the correct one. All right. Question number 5. The restaurant chef really great food. So, do we say the restaurant chef is cooked by really great food, or do we say the restaurant chef cooks really great food? So we have the subject of the sentence, so it's definitely active sentence, which means that the verb in B is the correct one. The restaurant chef cooks really great food. Number 6. Millions of people in airplanes every year. So do we say millions of people fly in airplanes every year or are flown? What do you think? Yes, it's an active sentence, so the correct form of the verb would be A, fly. Millions of people fly in airplanes every year. All right, number 7. New Year's Day on January 1st in most countries in the world. So do we say New Year's Day celebrate on January 1st or is celebrated? Do we know who celebrates this holiday? It is not mentioned in the sentence, so it is a passive sentence, which means that we need to choose the verb in B, is celebrated. All right, number 8. Sometimes my older sister me with my homework. So do we say sometimes my older sister is being helped by me with my homework? Or sometimes my older sister helps me with my homework? It's an active sentence, that's right. So the proper form would be helps. Good. Number 9. She is a famous actress. She all around the world. So if she's a famous actress, this means that people all around the world are familiar with her. They know her. They can recognize her. So this means that she is known all around the world. It's a passive sentence. And number 10, our final exams at the end of the school year. So do we say our final exams give at the end of the school year or our final exams are given? That's right, are given. It's a passive sentence because we don't know who gives the test, or maybe it's not important at this moment. What are we concerned about is that the final exams take place at the end of the school year. And now, I would like us to look at this short text and see how we can actually rewrite the whole text using the passive voice. How a toy car is made. In the factory, they use a computer to plan the exact shape of the car. They then feed this computer program into a machine and produce a plastic prototype. Then they produce the actual toy cars in a factory abroad. As far as the construction is concerned, they make the bodies of the cars from plastic. They add small electric motors to the cars and then they paint them. They also attach license plates. Quality control inspects the cars and then they wrap them and pack them into cardboard boxes. They ship the cars to Britain. Right. So it's a very short text describing the procedure of how a toy car is made. So let's turn the sentences into passive. The first sentence. As the first step, we say they use a computer to plan. So the passive sentence would be a computer is used to plan the exact shape of the car. So now we have they then feed this computer program into a machine and produce a plastic prototype. Any ideas how this sentence can be changed into passive? Think for a minute. Okay, let's see. When this computer program is fed into a machine and a plastic prototype is produced. Right. Moving on to the third sentence. Then they produce the actual toy cars in a factory abroad. The actual toy cars are produced in a factory abroad. Good. Now we're talking about the bodies of the cars. Let's see. As far as the construction is concerned, yes, they make the bodies of the cars from plastic. So the bodies of the cars are made from plastic. There we go. What about the small electric motors? They add small electric motors to the cars. Small electric motors are added to the cars and they are painted. License plates are also attached. At the next stage, let's see, quality controls inspects the cars and then they wrap them and pack them into cardboard boxes. At the next stage, the cars are inspected and then they are wrapped and packed into cardboard boxes. And the last one, they ship the cars to Britain. Finally, the cars are shipped to Britain. I hope that you are now more familiar with the present passive voice, and hopefully these exercises will help you to become more proficient with this grammar section. I hope that you had a good time, and I'll see you again on some of the other English lessons. Bye bye everybody.